first, just thanks so much for having us. Always looking for an opportunity to brag or flex about BCFFC. We're very passionate about our camp, and it's always great to be able to, to talk about it and to kind of spread the word, and to try and improve our numbers as we go. And I just wanted to personally thank CPF as an organization. Your partnership and sponsorship over the years is kind of vital to us. It makes our camp running, a lot easier, getting some funding and some support. So, without you, it would be a lot harder for us to succeed. So, heartfelt thanks from all the committees from BCFFC to you guys for helping us and partnering with us, because it's a big help, and we really appreciate it. So thanks very much. As we go here, I'll see if this works. See if my slides are going to work here. There we go. So just some quick facts about BCFFC. I'm not sure who knows what about our organization, but we were established in 1983. It's volunteer driven, 100%. We're a nonprofit organization. We've got 3 local committees, so we try and do as much as we can to for our mandate to spread around British Columbia. So we have 3 different camps that we do, and I'll talk more about that later. But one's on Vancouver Island in Nanaimo. One of them is just newly in Summerland in the Okanagan, and then we have another one way up in Gwillim Lake, which is not far from Chetwynd, which is our big remote camp up there. So for each location, we have a local committee, and then we have one overseeing kind of central committee, and that's why I'm called the central coordinator, is because I sit on the central committee. We roughly have right now, our numbers are about 400 kids per summer. We've had some challenges. Obviously, we didn't run because of COVID, and we had a campsite move that we had to do. We were in the Shuswap for quite a while, and the campground there kind of went under some new management, and they were kind of taking over a lot of our space and weren't as friendly as they could be. And there was a massive train track in there. So we moved to Summerland now, and we're trying to get our camp numbers back up again. So roughly we're about 400 kids. And I think at the peak of things, we probably have capacity for 800 if we can go get some more capacity from some of our campsites. But 400, 500 kids is right now really comfortable for us, and makes all of the camps really, really great. You're going to hear me talk a lot about moniteurs and our momos. Those are our counselors from Quebec. They come and we I'll talk more about them, but they really are the magic of French Camp, is who we hire and who we bring on to run our programs. So you'll hear me talk a lot about that, about our momos. We've got 2 lead momos who hire all of the other moniteurs and the counselors and kind of run our program. And so we have a program director and then also an assistant program director that we hire every year. So how it works is that I hire the program director and the assistant program director, and then they go out in Quebec and they hire all of our moniteurs. So I kind of have final say, but it's really never a problem. They're very good at the hiring, and the consistency and the quality of the moniteurs really is important and imperative to French Camp. And I'll also talk about more about that later. The program director and the assistant program director generally are people that have been moniteurs already. They've already come to camp, and we kind of, trying to, I don't know what the word is, not hone them. We try and bring them along and teach them as they go, and then we kind of know, we kind of can keep our eye out and know who we want to promote into the big jobs later as we go. So generally speaking, they have a lot of French Camp experience by the time they become the program director or the assistant program director. And again, consistency for those folks is imperative to our operation. So we take it quite seriously. Guiding philosophies for our organization. I won't read all of these. They're all posted on the website, but it's really learn, use French in fun-filled outdoor settings. And really the other one that's really important for us is the fostering understanding between Anglophones and Francophones. There's a big emphasis not just on French, just for the kids, not for the adults, but there's a big thing there about promoting French culture, and we have a Québécois night, and it's and a big French festival and stuff like that, and it's really about not just about the French language, but about the culture and trying to promote that around British Columbia. That's a real big part of it. The leadership and role models. part of it is really big too. We've got programs from pre-kindergarten all the way up to being a junior monitor, a junior Momo, and I'll show you kind of a little bit more about that. But we have programs for all kids, and they end up kind of starting out with these little tiny kids, and it's just so wonderful to see them kind of start in the program and all the way up to they want to work for French Camp and be a monitor, and it's just really it's really great to see them kind of go all the way through. We've actually had some of our committee members are actually, they used to be at French Camp as kids, and now they're bringing their own kids and are on the committee. So it's a long-term culture that we've built here, and that's kind of part of our success as well. And I'll kind of talk about more about that as we go. So here's a really boring slide for everybody. It's the org chart, but I thought some people might want to see it. But so I kind of sit up here as a central coordinator, and then our central committee is really made up of a communications and promotions person. We have some webmasters. We have a secretary and a treasurer at the central committee. We also have a bookkeeper. And then the three local committees break down into coordinators for each location. So we have one for obviously for Gwillim, for Okanagan, and for VI, which is Vancouver Island. And then under each local committee, we have registrars, we have equipment and purchasing managers. We've got a treasurer at each local camp because they can't always get checks from us at Central, so they have to be able to access their own funds. Camp managers, and the camp managers are really imperative. They kind of sit at camp during the weeks, so we usually have multiple of those for every week that we run camp. And then program planners, the people that plan the out programs for the teenagers and the overnight camps, and there's a lot of great activities that they do. So each one of our its locations need one of those to kind of do the bike rides and the canoe trips and that kind of stuff, and they need to kind of be hands on the ground to know what's happening locally at each camp. So yeah, so that's that and how it all works. So I wanted to explain a little bit about my journey with BCFFC because it's been long, and it's one of the things that we before I became the president, it was just astonishing to me, just the quality of the camps. We started going a long time ago. This is our youngest child. I didn't have any pictures of our like back in 2007 or 5 when we started to come because they're in a box somewhere in the closet. So I didn't have time to dig those out. But we started going a long time ago with our older kids. So I came into the family. Jackie, my wife, had already two kids, and so me being a fresh stepdad. Or being just a dad newly, was trying to come up with some ideas of what we were going to do for our first summer together. And I was talking about camping and doing things, and they kind of stopped me and said, "Well, we're going to French camp." And I was like, okay, well, what is French camp? And all of a sudden, eyes light up. They run to their rooms, they're grabbing pictures, and they're coming to the table. And my wife and both of them, they're just talking to me excitedly about this French camp for like 45 minutes. And as a new stepdad, if you can grab your kid's attention for 45 minutes straight in one conversation, you kind of peek up and listen. And so they were all so excited about it. And at first I didn't really know what to make of it, but we went, and we went to the Okanagan. And as we showed up, like everybody's wearing tie-dye and everybody's kind of happy, and people all know each other, and everyone's kind of looking after each other's kids. And it was just like, I was a little concerned that we had joined a cult. It was like, it was a strange thing to get into. But as we kind of went through, and as I started opening up to it and participating more, French camp really got its hooks in us, and just seeing how the kids, we left, and on the day we had to leave, they were crying, and they were taking pictures of their monitors and putting them on the wall, and they talked about it until the next year. So just seeing how important it was to them was key, but then also just how we ended up, being a part of it, and just loving every minute of it, and being charmed by the momos and by the other parents and the activities. It was kind of in our hearts right away. But because our older kids are 26, 24, our youngest is now 13, there was a big gap there. So when our older kids kind of left French camp, or they kind of aged out, there was a bit of a gap before we could come back with our youngest. And so we were concerned. There was a lot of time that went by, and of course, there's going to be all new monitors, and it was a new location, and we didn't know what to expect, if it was going to be as great as it was when we went before. So we showed up, and this is kind of pictures of our first year back. So my son there is holding a wand that he made. They all made magic wands and had were running around camp and doing spells. It was quite a Harry Potter type of situation. Our friends at the bottom there that he made fast friends with, and we're still long-term friends. We still camp with them every year at our first location, and of course our tie-dye show off at the big finale. But we showed up and we were astonished that camp was the same. It was the traditions were the same, the songs were the same, the quality of them and the energy and the passion of the moniteurs was the same. They sing the same songs. The program was the same. The way that the schedules were put together was the same, and not in a boring way, but in a traditional way, and in a way that made us feel immediately comfortable. We knew what was going on. We knew how everything was working, and we knew the songs. We knew some of the things that were happening, and so it was wonderful to know that. And I was actually astonished. I'm a change management consultant, and I was astonished that after so many years that the camp could remain the same and that they could hire the same quality of people to do it, and that the traditions and the really the values of the camp hadn't changed at all. It was exactly the same, and I was pretty astonished by that. Now that I'm involved in the camp, I understand why. And it's through the tradition of hiring the PD and the APD, and they pass along a book that's, they call it the Momo Bible, but it's this big giant book, and it has everything in there. Each program director writes pages and pages every summer about how to run camp better, but the traditions and the things, and they train the staff. We do a week of training with all of the Momos before they get, they show up at the first camp. They do a week of training. They sing the songs. They know the traditions. They spend a whole week just immersing themselves in what BCFFC is. And so that continues on. Another just note on this, I was going to say it later, but it just popped into my head now is part of the reason that we have success and we have such a high quality standard with all of our moniteurs is that we have a very good reputation in Quebec. We have a long-standing culture and a tradition here in BC. They love coming to BC. First of all, they know that BCFFC is a riot, that they're going to have a really good time. They're going to be treated well, that they're going to get paid well, and that the culture here is phenomenal. We have a really good reputation in Quebec, and there's a really small, I guess it's not small, but there's a pool of counselors, and they do all different kinds of camps in Quebec, and they get to choose wherever they want to go. And a lot of them, the cream of the crop, choose to come out to BC and do BCFFC because word has spread over the years that this is the place to be, and they're going to have a really great time, and they're going to, it's just going to be second to none. So we do end up getting, I think, probably the cream of the crop of what's out there for people that are counselors. Most of these folks they're either, teachers, or they're going to be teachers. They're studying to, they have an artistic flair, or they're all like, canoe rated. We hire specialists as we go, and I'll tell you more about that too. But it's really about them. The magic of the camp is really about them. And we continue to get through the years just these highly rated, wonderful people, in part because of our reputation. So we're all pretty proud of that. So here's all the programs that we have. So for pre-kindergarten, again, really ugly slide, sorry about that. But pre-kindergarten, so it's available for kids that are going into kindergarten in French immersion or Francophone programs immediately after summer. So the French, we do have a French level that everyone needs to meet, but obviously pre-kindergarten may not have that. Usually in that group, they're with that in the regular program, they're staying at camp the whole time. They might, they go to the beach and they do different things, but most of it's all within the camp. The pre-kindergarten kids usually get 2 monitors for that group so that they can, make sure that they're all being engaged and throughout the day. And then once they've completed kindergarten, up into grade 6, they're in the regular program. So we split all the groups up by age. So they're in the regular program and they're all split up. I'll show you a board, what it looks like, and they get their own monitor assigned to them, and then they have activities every day, and I'll show you kind of what a day in the life looks at. And then once the kids kind of complete grade 7, they have a couple of options, and they're a little bit more intensive. There's our AV group, which they do overnight biking and they do a canoe trip, and depending on the camp, the activities are all based on the camp. So, Vancouver Island looks a little slightly different than it will look in Summerland and Wick-Willem. But if we have enough kids to run the program, they do overnight hiking. The last time in Summerland, they they went on a 9 kilometer canoe trip, and they camped out, and they had some wonderful stuff. They went on a 15K bike ride. I'll show you a picture of that later. And then we have our Mile Milo group. If they're not like super adventurous and don't want to do the big long canoe trips and that kind of stuff, then it's a little bit more intensive. But they're generally at camp, but they do a lot more skits and games and art based type of activities, and they end up putting on a play that everybody watches, and it's pretty cool. So there's a lot of options for teens to get a little bit more out of camp than just the regular program. And then one step up from that, after you finish grade 9, is our coup de bois, and that's a little bit more intensive than our AV group. Sometimes AV and CV are the same; they're in the same group as they were this summer, just because there wasn't enough kids signing up for the big group. But that's even just a little bit more intensive for the kids to keep them really interested. So they'll go on to bigger bike rides or bigger tours, bigger adventures, a little bit more leadership involved in that stuff. And again, at all these levels, we hire specialists that have, every certification that you can think of to really bring the kids to a different level. And then we have our FLA program, and that program is really starting to do more of the, you could be a junior monitor in the camp. So that's a leadership program. Again, a specialist, is a leadership specialist for kids is hired, and they take them through a week of kind of being a camp counselor. And so right from pre-kindergarten all the way up to being, completed grade 10. And then the next year they can actually apply to become a junior monitor, and they get a monitor name, and they get to run camp and have fun and hang out with their heroes. So so right from pre-kindergarten all the way up to, basically grade 11, we can have them involved and engaged, every summer. So this is our camp board. So as you show up at camp every morning, you can come here, and whatever group you're in, it has a schedule of the week, and it has your little picture of your monitor there. And you can kind of go through and see how things are going to work. And there's a lot more information on all of them, but the camp counselors put these together, and they're quite fun and really informative. And normally you go up and kind of take a picture of it, so you have it on your phone for the whole time. But that's just kind of what our camp board looks like. As the week goes, so Saturday, I didn't put any times associated with this because it's not really necessary, but this is kind of how the week goes. It's a Saturday to Saturday that we do our camps. So the first Saturday you arrive and you check in with one of our registrars. They're usually there with a big tent and wearing a tie-dye shirt. And then Saturday, really, it's set up your tent and set up your camp and get to know some of the other families. French camp can be very communal. So I forgot my camp stove, or I forgot this thing, and usually everyone's there to kind of help out and pitch in. The first year, the picture of the twins that I showed before, the first year that we went to French camp, we met Violette and her family, and Violette is now our promotions person on the committee. And but she showed up in the campsite right next to us, and she had this van. She had 4 kids, 2 older and two twins younger, and her husband was away, but she had this little minivan, and there was no light. Like, you couldn't see light because it was so full of stuff. And she showed up, and she was having a hard time backing in. And so I ended up, she just comes over and says, "Can you back my truck in?" And I said, "Sure." So I ended up driving her van and backing it in. And then the whole time was we just became fast friends because she was really underprepared. And we kind of glamp, we've got all the gear. So she's like, "Do you have a coffee pot?" And we're like, "Yeah, come over, have coffee." So we ended up being really tight friends, and we camp next to each other every year now. But it's kind of like that. So anyway, so Saturday you check in, you set up, and you explore. And then that night at about 7 o'clock, there's an intro skit. So it's just to kind of get everybody warmed up. So every night there's a skit. We usually have a big headquarters, or it's on the grassy field, or there's a place where there's a big tent, and they have a big, usually a big stretched out tarp, and they do a skit every night for everybody. And then the first night we have a wine and cheese for the adults, and that's to kind of get to know the monitors and get to know the other parents, and to kind of, when it works the best, it's kind of parents that haven't been there before can kind of come over and get some advice and to ask questions and get to know the committee and that kind of thing. So the wine and cheese is a really fun night. Then Sunday through Tuesday, it's kind of basic every day. You meet at the headquarters, or the coffee tent, or the grassy field, whatever they call it at each camp. And the kids all go and get with their monitors, and then they go out to their camp. And then there's usually a quick parents meeting, especially for the teen programs, to make sure that everybody knows what they're doing, the pickups and the drop-offs. And then around lunchtime, around 11:30, the kids come home for lunch. And I put in there feed a Momo, because we have sign-up sheets, and for lunches and dinners for the entire camp, we have parents sign in and volunteer to have one of the momos come to your camp and eat with your family. And that's how we feed them all. But it's also a really good, the kids just love having one-on-one time with their monitors and with the AP and AD, PD and the APD. So it's a really cool time to just sit at your camp and have some one-on-one time with your momos. And then after lunch, everyone goes back to the grassy field. You split up in your groups again. And then at around 4 o'clock, kids are dismissed for the day. You have dinner again. You have a momo sometimes come over a couple of times during the week to eat with your family. And then every night wraps up at about 7 o'clock with a nightly skit that they put on, which are all in French. Sometimes it's hard to kind of keep understanding what's happening, but it's really fun, and really they do a really great job. So that's kind of Sunday through Tuesday. Wednesday is a day off, so everybody gets a day off. There's no camp that day. You can kind of go and explore the local areas, whether you're in Nanaimo or whether you're in Summerland. Gwillim is a little bit far away, but so most people just kind of chill out at camp up there. But yeah, it's a day off for everybody, and everybody kind of needs it just to kind of relax. And then Thursday through Friday is kind of the same stuff. You meet in the morning. There's a little parents meeting, lunch. They come back for dinner, and then again there's nightly skit and evening games. Is actually there's quite a few things that happen. There's a pretty good competition between the momos and the parents. We have a pretty serious volleyball competition that we do, and I think in Nanaimo they do a triathlon, which is not really a triathlon, but it's just for fun. There's a swim and a canoe race, and there's a bunch of stuff that we do to kind of and we crushed them in volleyball this year for the first time in like 20 years. So we were super excited. And then Friday night is the big grand finale. So you come to the last skit. The skit kind of has a finale to it, and then everybody wears their camp shirts and their tie-dye, and all the kids get the monitors to sign their shirts and say goodbye. And it's bittersweet because everyone knows it's the last day of camp, but it ends up, usually Friday night ends up going quite late and just hanging out with the momos and getting everything signed and saying goodbyes and all of that kind of stuff. And then Saturday you kind of wrap up and off you go. So it's a pretty intensive week. Some of the highlights: we have a communal dessert night. So it's the Momo's favorite night. Everyone brings desserts and they go and everyone shares, and we kind of hang out at night. There's a Quebec one night where they, instead of the normal skit they put on, it's all about Quebec culture. And they teach the kids about everything from poutine to famous, Quebecers, and it's really a fun, great night. On Tuesday night is a Sleep Under the Stars night, and it's one of the most lovely nights. The moniteurs all have lullabies that they sing, and so they come as a group, and we usually have a bit of a campfire, and there's tarps on the ground, and all the kids sleep under the stars. But before they go to bed, all the moniteurs get together, and it's very quiet, and they sing lullabies to the kids. And then the kids, they sleep out, and then there's a pancake breakfast in the morning. So that's kind of cool. And then there's sports night. So we play volleyball. Everyone dresses up. I'll show you some pictures of that. It's pretty cool, and a lot of fun. And the first year it was like there was such wacky costumes, and I didn't know we were supposed to, dress up. But every year it's a hoot. I'll show you some pictures. And then evening family games, and those are an absolute riot. They always are different, and everyone participates, has a really good time. So anyway, yeah, that's some of the highlights of the week. Here's our volleyball game. This is in Summerland, our brand new camp down at the beach. And so we crushed the moniteurs this year, and we were all super happy about that. We actually had to play an extra game because we were absolutely destroying them, which we never let them forget, by the way. So yeah, these are all the parents. Some of them are moniteurs dressing up. There's always a banana for some reason. I don't know why. It always just shows up. This is a canoe race that we had. This was in Summerland, or this was, in the Shuswap one year, and it got a little bit out of hand. But yeah, we had a big canoe race. We got destroyed. They absolutely destroy us every year in the canoes because they're all really, really good with their paddles. They know exactly what they're doing. So it was tough. Usually it's like a relay. You go around a cone and come back 3 times, and it's a riot. A lot of fun. This is our AV and CV group this year. This is up in Summerland, and we took them out, and they did they did the kettle bridges, or the trestles, and they did a 15K bike ride to their campsite. So that's actually my little trailer that I rented. We took all the bikes up there. But then there's another group of parents that take all their camp stuff to another location, so they don't have to pack it. And so they cycled for 15K. They slept overnight, and then they cycled back, and and then we picked them up. So yeah, that was just one of their little adventures that they did. Everybody was smiling and having a good time. And this is our festival night, again at Summerland. This is our new beach location. So this isn't in the camp, but it's not far. We just walk down the street, and it's lovely. It's Okanagan Lake, and you can see a bit of the smog in the back. But yeah, it was a great day. Lots of time in the water, lots of time in on the beach. That's where our canoe race happened this year as well. And then I thought if we had some time, I'm not sure. Yeah, we're only about halfway through. So I thought, it would be great if I could just kind of go over the website. I think you've all probably seen it. If you haven't, maybe I could just quickly do a demo of the website, and then we could just have time for questions, and maybe I can give you a little time back as well. So I'll see if I can pull it up here. I have it over here. A lot of what I was trying to figure out to do in my presentation, I was like, the website says it better than I could. So so this is our BCFFC website. It's not it hasn't been updated right with the new numbers yet, because we have our AGM is in November, and we have to decide what our dates are going to look like and what that's going to happen. Generally, it's the same every year, but this year with Summerland, with our new camp, we have a couple of things that we need to work on. So it might slightly adjust, and we're still working on Gwillim, seeing if they're going to open it up after COVID. Our campground in Gwillim is run by the school district there, and they have really high, not high standards, but it's really hard for them to get out of there. They're very cautious about COVID, and they may not have it open to us again. So this year, we did get to run camp again. Last year we missed because of COVID, but this year we didn't have a Gwillim camp because of the campsite closed down. So we did an extra week on both our other sides with the Okanagan and with VI. So yeah, so this is our website. It has everything on here that I've talked about. And if anyone ever wants to know anything, they can come on the site and see lots and lots of pictures and just about everything that you want. Can you guys see this okay? Yeah, you can see it. Okay. And it's got everything on here. So it's got videos and all of our songs, and and there's a little promotion for CPF. And it has everything down. We have our monitors. We also have a couple of Facebook pages. One of them is called BCFFC Family, and all of our monitors are slowly but surely making. So something I haven't mentioned is our monitors all use camp names, and no one ever knows their names except for me. And part of that is for a little bit of mystique, but also it's so that they remain kind of anonymous, and it's just kind of a part of the magic of camp. It's a big tradition in Quebec, apparently, that they never use their names; they only use camp names, and so we've kind of held that here, and it does kind of help. Here's our team for 2021, and you can see all of their names. We've got Alg and Baobab and Barbatine and Biscuit, and these are our wonderful monitors. Sol right here is she is our program director, and she's young, which is fabulous because she's going to come back for many years. This was her first time running our camp. Obviously, last year would have been her first year, but she's the program director and does all of our hiring. She's a wonderful, wonderful person, and hires really well, runs a really tight ship, and we absolutely adore her. Our APD for this year was Babatine, and she is also lovely. She's not coming back. She doesn't have. She's now kind of aged out, and she's got other plans for her life. But sadly, she's not going to be coming back next year. But she was an AV and a CV specialist. Did a lot of the extreme, not extreme, but the more teenage level programs. But yeah, you can see that they bring a lot of energy. Jazz is our Milo specialist, and is a wonderful actor, and he gets the kids really doing great funny skits and all these things, and really I think our APD next year might be Mustache, who is a national level volleyball player who can jump. His vertical is, I think, over 6 feet. We had one of our skits. He had one of the monitors standing in front in front of all the families, and he took 2 steps and jumped over her head. The guy's an incredible athlete. Anyway, so he may be, I think, part of our leadership team next year. But these are all of our wonderful momos. Can't say enough about them. Really what makes the program work. There's an overview of all of our programs. It goes into, it breaks down into every program that we have, and gives you a little bit more ideas about what it looks like and what's involved. Lots more pictures. So if you have any other questions about BCFFC ever, or you ever hear about anybody, then this is kind of the first stop. It has a lot of great things, equipment lists and general information. And if everyone can go there and it should answer all of your questions. And if not, you can always contact us directly. I think they have contacts in here. Even the camp songs are in there. Yeah, so we've got Okanagan Registrars, Gwillim Lake, and then I think there's general inquiries and stuff like that. So yeah, you can send them to the website and they can get to us. So I think that's all I had to say. I wanted to leave some time at the end for any questions that you might have. I'm seeing now I'm seeing now some of the comments. Oh yeah. So yeah, we can wrap up now. But if you have any questions, then please let me know, and I can quickly answer them.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bill, for walking us through what a week at BCFFC is like. I know last night it came up that I wonder how tough it would be to start a BCFFC and add a Y to it, and maybe start a camp in Yukon or somewhere around Whitehorse. We had some volunteers asking about that. So I don't know if that's in the cards.
Funny thing about Yukon is we have at least 3 or 4 moniteurs that are there right now from the past, and they've moved to the Yukon because they all again, they're all adventurers, they're all outdoor enthusiasts. Some of them camp for the entire summer and don't go. I think we still have 3 that are in Squamish that haven't left to go back to Quebec yet. So yeah, I think there would be a big interest for us. Setting it up is always about the local committee. So we really need hands on the ground. If we have a local committee, we would be interested in looking at that. But it's really the local committee. It's a lot of purchase. Like we've got at every location, we have their own equipment. So we have canoes, kayaks, life jackets, trailers full of equipment for every location. So we don't have to move equipment around. The moniteurs do move around. They start in the Okanagan, they do a training week, then they do the camp there, then they go to Gwillim, and then they come down to VI. They don't have to take anything with them. All the stuff is there, ready to go, waiting for them. So, starting a brand new location would be a little bit difficult, but it's not something that is impossible. And I know that there's enough interest. The monitors love going anywhere that's extreme. So it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility.
That's very good to know. Thank you so much. Bill, where can people reach you if they've got questions or if they've got suggestions on perhaps where they can participate?
So yeah, I've got my email address is really long, but it's centralcoordinator@bcffc.com. And I think it's probably on the website somewhere that you can grab it if you don't want to, but you can reach me at that email address. And if I think Alicia has it for sure, and I know Robin has it, so you can ask them for it, and I'm always available. If you have any other questions or anything about French Camp, I'm always willing to wave a flag or to shine a light on it. It's yeah, I can be reached anytime.
Very cool. Glenn, did you put your hand up?
I did, yeah. Bill, I just want to start off by thanking you so much for this presentation. This is by far the most exciting, and your passion comes through so clearly. So I think I'm feeling a lot of inspiration around the virtual table right now. So thank you for bringing this forward to us, Bill. I have a couple questions. The first one is when you started, so CPFBC and Yukon, we help fund BCFFC. It's under the social cultural envelope that we use. And I have to say, Bill, that I've watched BCFFC for at least 12 years now, and it seems to have, different leaders at different times and different levels of organization. And the website you just showed is amazing. So a lot of kudos for whoever worked on that and helped update that. And the leadership that I'm feeling right now seems so strong. I'm wondering, you said that, there's about 400 students right now, but it could go up to 800. And I'm just wondering, what would you need to be able to expand this?
Well, really, it's getting the word out. We haven't really met our caps. There are caps at the different campsites. There's only so many available. We're working really hard on Summerland. We landed on a campsite there, but it's not. The best case scenario is when we used to have a camp in Vernon where we owned the whole campsite. Not owned it, but we got to take over the whole campsite. Living Forest in Nanaimo is huge, so they always have enough room for us. So really, sometimes it's capped just because of room. and then really, besides that, it's really just getting the word out and promoting it. And to be honest, it's not something that we've spent a lot of time on. Something that we'd like to do more of. But getting out to PACs and talking to school districts and that kind of stuff is something that we could do more. But it's really about just getting the word out. And if more people sign up, it's a good problem to have. If we get more people than campsites, we would love to have that problem. But we just haven't hit those numbers. VI is really where that sets the tone. It's our biggest camp. So if they get 150 kids in VI, then that's how many monitors we have to hire. And so they get to go to all the camps. And so sometimes in Gwillim, Gwillim is a really remote location. We have it because it's very unique. We only do a week up there. The monitors love it because it's so extreme and such in the wilderness. So we've kept that camp in, but really if we were over the top and we got another 200 kids that signed up, then we may look at moving that camp to another location so that we could accommodate more people. Sometimes up in Gwillim, they'll have 25 kids, and they'll have 15 monitors. So it's they have a really great experience up there. The monitors love being in that extreme nature, but if we could look at possibly moving the camps if we were to get a big flood of participation. So. We're all over it. We would love that. If we could expand our teams, we can always hire more monitors. We've got the equipment, we've got the infrastructure, we've got the committees in place. We can support a lot more kids. It's just the amount of people that we hire every summer. So we're ready. It's just whether or not we get the kids to sign up.
And Bill, from a CPF, BC and Yukon's perspective, without having really chatted with the team about this, I feel like there's a lot of interest to help support, expand this as much as we can. And so we should have some of those conversations about how we can support you.
That would be great. We're open to all of those things. We can bring, we would absolutely welcome that and love it. That'd be great.
Super.
And again, we thank you for your support. It's great. And this is Alicia coming in and asking us to talk today was really, we were all very excited about it. All the committees were excited about it. And anything that we can do to increase our partnership, and we're over the moon. That's great.
Thanks so much, Bill. I know it was tough to sort of condense this all into the timeline we gave you.
Yeah.
But if folks do need to reach you, we're going to share this recording in our post-conference summary, and we're also going to share your contact info so that they can come directly to you with questions. And we're look forward to seeing BCFFC grow even more.
That's great. Well, thanks so much, everybody. It's been wonderful, and thanks for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much.